The DNC is starting to circulate its after-action report on the 2024 election. Politico has gotten a few sources to talk about the sort of top lines that are being circulated to certain Democratic leaders. And here's sort of the early take on this, according to the Politico report. DNC officials argued Democrats, I'm reading directly from the Politico article. DNC officials argued Democrats didn't spend early or consistently enough to engage and persuade voters. One of several problems the party faced in 2024, according to the committee. Swapping Joe Biden with Kamala Harris atop of the ticket intensified those systemic, long-term problems for the party, the officials said. And this is according to two people that were briefed by the DNC this week and granted anonymity to discuss the conversations. For what it's worth, so far in these early briefings of this after-action report, the so-called autopsy of 2024 by the DNC, Biden's age has not come up. Now, the DNC officials also said the party's failure to respond to voters' top issues led to losses across once core constituencies, including working-class voters. That is one of those duh, right? When you don't talk about the issue that's of most concern to the voters, you're going to likely be on the losing end of an election. I'm glad it's taken them 8 months to write an autopsy to come to that conclusion on that front. Another person briefed on the report said that they understood the assessment to mean that Democrats, quote, didn't talk enough about bread and butter issues, and instead we talked about social issues, social anxieties. Now, here's the thing. This idea that the Democrats didn't spend early enough actually doesn't fit the facts. Back when Biden was still actively running for president, their campaign actually bought $25 million worth of ads in September of 2023. It was earlier than either Barack Obama or Donald Trump aired ads during their first re-elections. They also spent another $30 million on ads in March of 2024. So, and they were arguing, Biden's team at the time was arguing, according to Politico, that this early investment for activate key voters. So I'm confused here. The DNC is claiming it was too late of investments and money in this idea when actually Democrats had the advantage early with money. Look, it sounds like this autopsy is going to end up, if this is what it is, if this is what they've concluded, then it is just a whole bunch of words to not say what the real problem was, which is Joe Biden shouldn't have run. Joe Biden didn't have the capacity to articulate the message that they needed to do. But more importantly, the Biden White House totally disagreed with the public on what the top issue was. Remember, you had the Biden White House putting out surrogates constantly saying the economy is recovering. The economy is great. Look at all the job creation. And they kept making the job creation argument, saying this economy, pay no attention to what the rest of the country, essentially, we don't, pay no attention to what you think the problem is with the economy, i.e. costs. You should listen to us and we'll tell you that the economy is okay. I mean, it is. So this if this is really the autopsy, it tells me that they're just trying to, I don't know, are they protecting people's personal feelings? Or is it just, do you need an autopsy to find out you had a candidate that wasn't capable of running for president? That was the issue. He couldn't sell his agenda. And then more importantly, whoever was surrounding him totally misread didn't have any clue at what the country was upset about, which was the cost to live. I don't know what more the autopsy should say other than that. And, other than, do they want to try to light on fire certain consulting groups or people? Obviously, a whole bunch of people made a whole bunch of money based on bad strategy. Okay, that's a fair point. But on the other hand, considering how poorly all of this was handled, the fact that they came essentially about 100,000 voters away from winning the Electoral College is still pretty remarkable. Again, if Kamala Harris simply flips Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, she's at 270 electoral votes. So they're going to release the whole thing. Apparently, they're going to release the whole thing after this November's elections. But it is, if this is what the early word is, I don't know if anything's going to be learned from this. To me, if the autopsy doesn't say, hey, the DNC has done a terrible job over the last 15 years in registering voters, then to me, the entire autopsy is worthless, because that is sort of been one of the major problems the party has had, a complete and utter dismissiveness of the fact that they were losing voters, basically leaking voters for the last decade. And now, of course, you sort of see the accumulation of lost party registrations, and it is shocking what the numbers are. It is almost a 10-1. Look, Republicans have lost registered voters over the last few years, and so have Democrats. But literally, it's a 10-1 ratio. Democrats are losing 10 voters for every one voter the Republicans are losing. That is an unsustainable path. There's a reason results matter more than promises. Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan has become America's largest injury law firm. For the last 35 years, they've recovered $25 billion for more than 500,000 clients. It includes cases where insurance companies offered next to nothing, sort of shortchanging, seeing if they could get away with it. And Morgan & Morgan fought back, and they won millions. In Pennsylvania, one client was awarded $26 million. It was a staggering 40 times the amount that the insurance company originally offered. That offer, $650,000, whatever it took to sort of get away without paying. So with more than 1,000 lawyers across the country, Morgan & Morgan knows how to deliver for everyday people. So if you're injured, you're looking for a lawyer, check out forthepeople.com/ToddCast or dial pound law, pound 529 on your cell phone. And remember, all law firms are not the same. So give Morgan & Morgan a look. Their fee is free unless they win. A few updates on Virginia. It does appear that everybody is going to rally around, for now, on the Democratic side. Jay Jones. I want to read you a few statements that a few state Democrats their rationales for sticking by Jones, the Attorney General nominee, who of course had those text messages that were sort of fantasizing about the death of a former Assembly Speaker's kids. Virginia State Senator Lamont Bagby, who chairs the state's Democratic Party, asked the following question in an interview when asked whether Jones should resign. And his response was, Republicans that are asking him to resign, where were they when Trump and other Republicans have made their comments? The old whataboutism defense. And another, I want to read you one more. Wes Bellamy, a well-connected progressive activist who teaches at Virginia State University, said the following: people on the left feel as if they have to be the perfect, highest moral individuals in the world. Normal, everyday people say stupid things in text messages online all the time. If that is the thing that means the Democratic ticket doesn't win the election, then they've got bigger issues. Look, I don't think this is going to take down the entire Democratic ticket. It probably is only going to take down his own candidacy, could make the LG race a lot closer, and maybe Spanberger wins by single digits, and it costs them some opportunities and down the ballot in state legislative races and things like that. But this public defense, this is exactly what I've been sort of ranting about now for a few months, that the rationales that many Republicans would use to overlook hateful and violent rhetoric from Donald Trump and some of his supporters, and the sort of, oh, can't you take a joke? And it's not that serious. That the Democratic defense of when somebody on their side sort of behaves similarly as well is now going to go to the same thing. Is that really the answer? I go back to the whole golden rule, right? You do unto others as you want done unto you, right? And the Texas governor has decided he is going to trounce on the 10th Amendment when it comes to the state of Illinois, but he has apparently is not worried about Texas's rights being trampled upon if the roles were reversed. Okay. Ditto here, right? If we are trying to tone the rhetoric down, then somebody's got to take the high ground here. Somebody's got to want to have some moral authority here. And these defenses, and look, in fairness, not many well-known Democrats are willing to stick by and make the defense like that. But that mindset, and I know it's there in the base of the party. I get it. They look at what what Trump and his minions get away with and think, geez, it doesn't hurt them, so why do we care so much about it? And I'm like, there's still a vast chunk in the middle who do care about ethics, who do care a little bit about character, who do want somebody to try to pretend to be a role model for doing this the right way instead of the wrong way. So, I'm sort of shaking my head, but I will. I would be a little leery, Democrats, of giving up the adult in the room voter, who I do believe they've had an inside track on, essentially during most of the Trump era. But if you can't beat them, join them mindset, I don't know what happens. Then you don't know where this goes. Does it go third party? Does it go splintering? There's a lot of ways that this could go.